fourth step, and it's Psalm 123. I lift my eyes to you whose throne is in heaven. And they know this is all about God. They've brought their sacrifice, yes. They've traveled the distance, yes. But it's not about what they did. It's about what God's doing that elevates their soul. And they make their way to that seventh step. And I know you guys sang this song, and I missed it this morning. That song, Men Who Dream. And they get to that seventh step, and I picture that if I'm that guy, the tears are coming down my eyes now. And in verse 1 it says, when the Lord brought back the captives to Zion, we were like men who dreamed. Because a people who are set free can dream again. And when Deborah got up here and talked about, I was baptized a year ago, on this night I was set free. You know what? She's now dreaming about what God can do in her life. I remember the night I was baptized, June 10th, 1992. It was in the fish-smelling cold waters of Lake Michigan in a harbor in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. But it might as well have been a basin of gold flowing from the River Jordan. You know what I'm saying? I came up out of that water, and I turned, and I baptized my wife into Christ on that very same night. And when she came up into that water, I said, I am your older brother in the Lord. Amen, sister? I just wanted to establish that right from the beginning. And we came out of that water, and we were like, hey, what are we all doing, guys? And everybody's like, well, you're baptized. We're going home. I'm like, we're not going home. We're changing the world. They're like, it's 9:30 on a weeknight. It's a Wednesday. We need to go home. I'm like, well, someone's taking us out to eat. That I know. I was dreaming, people. And I'll take anything at that moment. You know what I'm saying? Then it was said, among the nations, the Lord has done great things for them. And we say the Lord has done great things for us, and we are filled with joy. When you're at your spiritual peak, you are filled with joy. That's one thing you know. How do you know if you're doing well spiritually? And you love God and you're filled with joy. People who are cynical and jaded are not doing well spiritually. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit. You know, I so love that song, Men Who Dream. The first time I heard it as a Christian, you know that moment where it stops? And then the brother starts leading, so let us go, let us go. I can't sing, but I just love that song. And the first time I heard that song, I was in an audience of about 400 people. I thought the song ended at that point. And I yelled out, wow! And then the brother's like, so... And I'm like, it's not over yet? You could have heard a pin drop. Except for that one loser guy who just yelled, wow, during Men Who Dream. I literally thought that. I was like, wow! That's incredible. I'm just glad I just shut my mouth at that point. I don't know how you're doing spiritually, but as we talk about ascending to the summit of spirituality, maybe you're like this guy. You're walking in here, you're like, ascend, I'm barely hanging on. I've got unconfessed sin in my life. Some of you are visiting, you don't even know what you're a part of right now. There's probably 100 people in this room who are like, what is this? And you're like, I'm not trying to go anywhere, I'm just trying to stay right where I am. Because the view down there is not good, and up there seems impossible. I love this view. Help a brother out. Help a sister out. Nobody should escape fellowship this weekend, guys. Nobody should escape the question, how are you doing spiritually? There shouldn't be one person in this room that doesn't confess some sin to somebody this weekend. Because I guarantee you, not everybody came in here just, pure as the white snow of Chicago. But, go to somebody and say, man, help a brother out. I'm climbing. I got a pack of weight on my back. I need some help. Can you give me a hand, brother? Can you give me a hand, sister? Here's what's going on. Because ultimately, at the end of this weekend, we want to be this dude right here. You know what I'm I'm saying? You know what I'm saying, guys? And I'm going to, what I want to do the rest of this lesson is I want to talk about how to get to that point right there. Where we are standing up and you literally, guys, I drove in 5 hours of LA traffic to get here. And I'm probably going to drive in traffic to get back. And I'm just going to be like, woo! And people in that traffic are going to be like, what is wrong with that guy? I mean, you're at the water cooler on Monday going, yes! And they're like, what is wrong with you? Oh, I'm just, yes! You know what I'm saying? And that's what we're going to talk about for the rest of my few minutes with you. I want you to flip over. I want you to flip over with me to Psalm 122. We're going to break this down by a few areas, and I'm going to share my life with you. And I want to tell you that I've been on a spiritual journey for almost 20 years. And it's taken me through the ups and downs of life. I've lost loved ones. I'm a cancer survivor. And that's all happened to me as a Christian. And it's taught me a few things about learning to establish my walk with God in such a way as to arm me for the spiritual battle. And one of the things I've learned first and foremost is we've got to learn to have God's perspective. And I'm going to slip over here. I'm not a very good flipper of things, but I love this picture right here. That yellow ball is you. No matter what happens in your life, if you can somehow see things through God's eyes, you will find a way through it. You will learn to see it through the eyes of love if you can see it through God's perspective. You will learn to see it through a perspective of faithfulness and victory if you can see it through God's perspective. And I love Psalm 122, and we're gonna stay right here in the Songs of Ascent. Is that okay with you guys? Because it says in verse 1 of Psalm 122, I rejoiced with those who said to me, let us go to the house of the Lord. Our feet are standing in your gates, O Jerusalem. I love this verse. Jerusalem is built like a city that is closely compacted together. What? I want Brian Craig to write a song with that lyric in it. I dare you. Jump down to verse 6. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. May those who love you be secure. May there be peace within your walls and security within your citadel. You know, there's just this sense when I read Psalm 122 that God's perspective is we should be rejoicing as we come near to the Lord. But you know, sometimes we get a little jaded, don't we? I found this little story that I thought would, hopefully I won't lose my voice. That just means you got to encourage me all the more. Amen. This is going to work to my advantage, Marco. There's a turtle who's crossing the road. What do we know about turtles? You guys are good. There's always a risk with that. They're green. No, that's not it. They have a shell? No, that's not it either. They're slow. The universal thing about turtles, they're slow. When suddenly, she, being the turtle, is mugged by two snails. What do we know about snails? They have a shell. No. They make a good appetizer. No, that's not it either. They're slow. By the way, this isn't a true story. When the police arrive, the turtle is obviously distraught and saddened by the situation. The police ask the turtle, what happened? The turtle exclaims, I don't know. It all happened so fast. That is one perspective. You know, sometimes I ask myself, when I'm around disciples, whatever happened to the word awesome? Like, whatever happened to hands on the shoulders, I love you, brother? When I first heard that, I'm like, I'm out of here. How many of you guys know Kevin Maines? Kevin put me in the ministry.